Cowboy Nation, man. We got a big-time, epic battle that's been brewing out here between these two wide receivers, Jalen Brooks and Jalen Tolbert, man. The battle of the Jalens. It feel like a Game of Thrones war that's brewing with this team, man. So, hey, we got to figure out who will be wide receiver 3. They are two good candidates. We already expect Jalen Tolbert to be the one, but Jalen Brooks has emerged from out of nowhere to be a big-time contender. Okay, first we'll talk about the underdog in the equation. Jalen Brooks coming out of South Carolina, standing at 6'1", 205 pounds, man. It seems like Mike McCarthy got a type because him and Jalen Tolbert are identical in size and height and build. So, hey, we understand that he got a prototypical size that he like to run for his offense. Coming in last year as a 7th round pick, he gave us a little optimism. He had a decent camp, and he came in the preseason showing some signs of life, showing that he was capable of being a decent player. Then you go fast forward into the season last year, he got a few reps that you didn't expect. He went absolutely perfect. He went 6 for 6 for 64 yards, no touchdowns, but he didn't drop a single pass. So that's one of the things that make the fans feel like, hey, he could do a lot more because he did not mess up when he got on the field. When we talk about Jalen Tolbert, on the other hand, out of 17 games in 2023, he had 36 targets, 22 receptions, 268 yards, 12.2 average, and then he had 474 air yards, 2 touchdowns. So we did see that Jalen Tolbert came in and had a decent chemistry with Dak Prescott. It seemed like everything they did was off script. It seemed like it was some improv type situation. So that means Young Ryan Dakota really does trust Jalen Tolbert to a higher degree than a lot of other players. I seen him do like a blind throw it in a spot against Washington and stuff. So we can for surely say that him and Dak Prescott have a level of trust and they have a level of chemistry already. Now, we can look and see Jalen Tolbert had a struggling rookie year. Kellen Moore brought him in and overwhelmed him. Then he had an injury, so it was a bad position to be in, as Jalen Tolbert said. He lost some of his confidence, and it seems like Mike McCarthy helped rejuvenate, rekindle everything he had coming out of South Alabama, and he took a big-time leap in his second year in very limited snaps with only 36 targets, and he still showed us some promise. Everybody remember the big catch over Xavier Howard in Miami, and he had a big-time play against the Eagles in both games, if I'm not mistaken. So, hey, Jalen Tolbert did show us some signs of life. He did give us a little hope, a little optimism for him and his skill set going forward. Now, first, we can evaluate the politics that's in the equation. Of course, Jalen Tolbert was a 3rd-round pick, and they got a lot of equity, a lot of stock, a lot of resources that's dedicated to him to be successful. So, by default, I'm sure that the Joneses will really like him to be ahead of Jalen Brooks. This shouldn't even be a discussion. So Jalen Tolbert will have every opportunity in the world to be wide receiver 3 for the Cowboys, no question. So that's almost a given. So now Jalen Brooks still came and made a name for himself to even put his name in the hat to even be in this conversation, because we shouldn't be talking about anybody else emerging to try to take or threaten the role that Jalen Tolbert's supposed to have. So Jalen Brooks has done a great job already for even being in this position that he found himself in for 2024 season coming up. And they've been giving a lot of glowing reviews and stuff about him. Son Robert Prince, the wide receiver coach, he's doing an excellent job. He's been raving about Jalen Brooks. Dak has been raving about Jalen Brooks. So we've been hearing his name ringing bells, and he's made a real good impression on a lot of people. So that's a great step in the right direction for Jalen Brooks. So politics-wise, I might think it might be on the even trajectory right now. It might be a fair game right now. But you will probably have to give a slight edge to Jalen Tolbert because they got too much resources dedicated to him. Now, as far as the physical traits, you see Jalen Brooks, he ran a 4.69. That is not ideal. That's probably why he found himself getting drafted in the 7th round, in the 27th pick in the 7th round. So we know that speed kills and speed is very important for a wide receiver in this league. So that's something that he probably made a bad impression on the scouts by, for him running such a slow speed. You usually want your wide receivers at least around about 4 or 5. But to be fair to him, he don't seem to play that slow when I look at him on film. Coming out of college, it seemed like his scout report was saying that he was kind of clunky coming in and out of his breaks, and he had a slow 40. So it was a couple of things that they knocked him for. Hey, one thing I can say, I didn't see nothing of the sort when I seen him get a few reps at the Cowboys. He looked it quick, he looked it explosive. He do play different positions. X, he played a Y, he played in the slot. So that's a good thing. He's a versatile player. His athletic score, according to Next Gen Stats, don't look good. They got him rated at a 58. But another thing that knocked him coming out of South Carolina, out of 3 years, he only had 2 receiving touchdowns. So of course, that production was lacking. That is something that will be held against him. So only 2 receiving touchdowns is quite alarming. You would like to see much more production like that. He was in the big boy SEC, so we might have to give him a little grace. But 2 receiving touchdowns in 3 years, that's kind of low. So his production was not top tier at South Carolina, meaning that's why he probably got in the 7th round. Now, when it comes to Jalen Tolbert, he ran a 4.49. That's great speed for a wide receiver. That's exactly the threshold you want to be in, 4.4, 4.5 at least. That's pro-level speed right there for a wide receiver. Then we already know he had great production out there at South Alabama. So, hey, we understand that's not the same level as an SEC school, so just to be fair. But he did show out and show up against all the competition. He had one of his better games against Tennessee, which is a SEC school, a D1 level school. So he didn't disappoint when he got his opportunity to show up against them boys. So that's something to keep in mind when we evaluating these 2 players. So far as the politics goes, Jalen probably got him. Far as the physical traits and the production, I think Jalen probably got him too. I know that was a joke, you know what I mean. Jalen Tolbert probably 2-0 in these 2 categories, in my opinion. According to Next Gen Stats, Jalen athletic score was higher. His production score was higher. It was a 79. Everything about Jalen Tolbert tested out to be better than Jalen Brooks. So if we looking at just a pure athlete without no scheme or nothing like that, it looks like Jalen Tolbert is the superior player so far. Just straight off pure evaluation of the politics, the physical size, and the production coming out of college, the speed, all that good stuff, all of those type of attributes, it looked like it's pointing Jalen Tolbert way so far. But one thing Jalen Brooks do have over Jalen Tolbert is the fact that Jalen Tolbert started playing wide receiver so late, started playing football in high school, and Jalen Brooks has been playing football the whole time, so he could be slightly ahead of him in the IQ department. Maybe Jalen Brooks was a little more ahead in that category, so that will be an advantage for him possibly. But then again, Jalen Tolbert been in the system already for a couple of years and been with Dak Prescott for 3 years, going on 3 now. So, hey, that might not even be too much of an advantage for him. But I think in conclusion, man, I feel like it's going to come down to this camp. It's going to be big time results off of this camp. I think they're going to put everything, all the equity and all the decision making into this camp. So I can't wait to get out there to Arsenal to see them battle it out. And I'll say, man, I'm going to just say my bold prediction, my prediction in who will win in the end. I feel like it's Jalen Tolbert. I feel like everything will be in front of him. I feel like he'll take advantage of it. I feel like he'll be able to separate himself and show that he's the better player. And these are not the only 2 candidates that could emerge as a wide receiver 3 either, but this is pretty much the talk of the town so far. So you got other people like Ryan Flournoy, you got people like Cavante Turpin, a flyer, trying to put his name in the hat. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops going forward, man. But hey, I think I'm Team Tolbert. It looks like he will be the better person. He got the skill set. He's been in the offense, got the chemistry with Dak. So, hey, I think all the signs is pointing to Jalen Tolbert, and plus the politics. We already know how it works in Dallas. The politics is a major part in a lot of their decision making. So make no mistake about it, that will be a part of the equation. But hey, let me know in the comments who you think will take over this wide receiver 3. Will it be Jalen Tolbert? Will it be Jalen Brooks? Will it be Jalen Marino Cropper? Hey, we got other Jalens, man. We got all the Jalens that you can imagine on this team for the Cowboys. So, hey, let me know in the comments what side you on, who you think gonna win the job ultimately after camp, during preseason, who gonna go off, who gonna make sure they separate themselves and claim wide receiver 3 for our Cowboys. But that's all I got for you today, man. Just holler at your boy, Landlord from Alabama, with the same handle on all social media. And like I say, 1K, 1 love, Cowboys Nation. Let's go.